What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bleacher Takes. Your boys are back again talking sports, having
Yeah,
some
yeah,
fun,
yeah.
hanging out. Thanks, guys, for joining us in here. We appreciate it. We got a lot to go over. It's our Sunday rundown. We got a lot of sports, a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to get right into it. Boys, what's going on? How we feeling?
Hey, man, we're feeling pretty good today. Enjoyed some beautiful weather on this little Sunday afternoon, and yeah, I'm ready to talk some sports with the boys. Nate, how you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling fantastic, man. My Blues just won. Nasty play by Jordan. He's starting to wake up in the series. We're looking good. So with the Blues dub, I am doing fantastic. Watching a little Miami Heat and Philly. Good game going on right now. But yeah, I'm ready to talk some sports, man. A lot of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of awesome stuff going on. Obviously, we still got our playoffs going on, basketball, hockey. Anytime that you can have two playoffs going on at the same time, consider yourself very blessed. We got a
Yeah.
lot of great things to talk about, a lot of content. We're going to try to keep it, within an hour frame, but you know how us boys are. We like to talk, like to get into it. Boys, did you guys catch any of the UFC fights this weekend? There
I
was
didn't get to I didn't get to watch them live, but I did look at some highlights and
Yeah, there was some crazy stuff that happened. Justin Gaethje fought Charles Olivier, and good old Olivier. He missed weight, was stripped of his title, still got the fight though. So the title was technically vacant when they fought, and the only one who could win was Gaethje. I want to talk about it for a second though. You guys think it's kind of crazy that they can strip him of his title because of half a pound?
I mean,
I mean, there's the rules. I mean, you can't. I know that it's like
yeah,
half a
like
pound, but I mean, if you're 3 pounds over, you got to
Right.
cut it off
Yeah,
somewhere. I mean, these
I
guys are
get.
professionals. I mean, I don't understand. They should know. They probably weigh themselves probably 8 times a day. I mean, that's their career. That's their job. So, I mean, somebody
yeah.
messed up. He had an extra chicken nugget when he wasn't supposed to last night. I have no idea. Maybe he had one of these bad boys, and that pushed him over the edge. I don't
A
know.
lot of it though is you guys know that they fight about 10 to 15 pounds over what they weigh in at, right? Like they
Yeah.
just do that for
Yeah.
the weigh-in day. And
Yeah.
so either he woke up, didn't get started in time to lose that weight, or maybe he drank a little bit too much water. He probably it's probably water weight, half pound of water weight, and that's what's tough. It's because in those sweat days, the days that they have to weigh in on, they say are some of the roughest days that any sport athlete can go through because
Oh, for
there's no
sure.
nutrition. Like they can pour water in their mouth, but they have to spit it out. Like they can't swallow. They have to go through in those sweat things, bro. I mean, I'm fat already, so me just wearing clothes and getting sweaty is enough for me. Imagine wearing a sweatsuit, sitting in a sauna, doing treadmills, biking with no water. That's insane. But
Yeah.
like you said, that's what they get paid for. These
Yeah.
guys are animals, anyways. I mean, that's like the least of their worries.
Didn't he get to weigh twice too? Like
He
he
did. Yeah, they
weighed
Yeah.
gave
in.
him.
Yep.
I think it's a. I could be wrong, but I think it's like a champion's advantage. If the champion doesn't weigh in correctly, they give him an hour to try to lose it again. I could be wrong. That could be for
I think
everybody,
that
or
goes for everybody.
is it everybody?
I
I
think
saw them
so.
bring out like
Yeah.
a whole curtain thing. Like they brought up a whole curtain because they like probably they weigh themselves in their shorts or
With
whatever.
nothing. Yeah.
And then yeah, they weighed with nothing and they had like this big old like curtain thing for privacy. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So then it made me think, well, maybe they let them weigh again like later because they don't do that
Yeah,
every time.
they do it.
Yeah.
Well, most people make the cut. So yeah, they give him another hour to do so. But I mean, it's hard to get anything done in an hour like that. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I don't I don't know if you guys ever watch like the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that, but like
Mhm.
they have times on there to where like, fighters won't make weight and stuff like that. And they give you a little, if you want to say, backstage access to, like what are some of the stuff that they have to go through to cut that weight and stuff like that. And it is, I mean, like you said, it's a very, very, very difficult process. So I mean, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like you said also, I mean, they're professionals and this is what they do for a living. So at the same time, a rule is a rule, and they have to be, even if you are a champion, you have to be held accountable. So
Yeah, I mean,
Right. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was tough though because we kind of had some talks before. Nate picked Gaethje to win. I picked Olivier. Josh didn't really say who he thought was going to win, but I just think that Olivier. I hope I'm saying that right. I think that's right. But I thought he was a better fighter. I think he's one of the best in the UFC.
yeah,
And he kind of
he's good.
they In that fight, though, it only lasted 2 rounds. In round 1, Gaethje really caught Olivier, knocked him over.
Dude
But
was bleeding like a mug too.
Gaethje's his whole game is his striking game. He's got the fastest strike percentage in UFC history and the most strikes landed per round, I believe, in UFC history. Like the guy is always just throwing shots, throwing punches. That's just what his game is. But he doesn't really have much of a ground game. I thought, when he knocked Olivier over, that's when you jump on him, and that's when you pound, or that's when you try to submit and that kind of thing. And he just didn't let Olivier get back up. Olivier was tagged. He was bleeding from, I believe, the side of his eyebrow right here. Just kind of in this area was bleeding. And the round got over. Round 2 starts. Olivier catches Gaethje, knocks him over, and Olivier is just, he's good on the ground. He's good striking. Hops on him. It doesn't take him but probably 30 seconds. Gets him in a rear naked choke. Chokes him out.
Yep.
And it was a good short fight. I mean, it was kind of back and forth. Really, round 1 belonged to Gaethje. I would have ruled it in favor for him. Olivier just showed him, hey, I can do that to you too, and I can capitalize on knocking you down. So Olivier still is not champ. It's technically vacant, but everybody knows he's the champ. He just
he's still the number 1 contender or something like that still.
Yeah.
So
and he might be facing Michael Chandler here soon. Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson fought in a pretty highly anticipated fight. Chandler was the 5th in the pound-for-pound rankings in their division. Ferguson was 7th. They're both needing a win. Both have had long losing streaks. In the UFC, you only fight once, twice a year. So, to go, a year and a half without winning a fight, I feel like it's a pretty long time. Yeah. But I can't remember which one had lost 2 in a row. One had lost 3 in a row. But they both have lost championship fights here in the last few fights. And it was highly anticipated. Round 1, Chandler came out, kind of dominated Ferguson, had him on the ground, was tagging him up, made him bleed quite a bit. And Ferguson then is on the ground. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Chandler is on top of him. Ferguson is sitting there and then headbutts him. Literally headbutts Chandler. And Chandler starts dripping blood from his face. I think it made him mad. So round 2 comes out, and Chandler says, all right, I'm going to end this here real quick, and throws the nastiest kick I have seen in a while. Throws it straight up with the bottom of his foot right here and catches dude right in the chin. I thought the dude was dead.
I saw that.
He laid there for like 4 or 5 minutes, no joke. Yeah. And I was like, is this guy gonna get up? Like, my Lord.
He caught him with his toes were like bent, and he caught him with like the hard, the
hard part right there, bro.
Like
of his
it was
foot, just
perfect
shot. You see the dude's head like literally just like come off his neck. It was insane.
Yeah, you can't. The accuracy that he had with that kick, you can't land it any better.
No,
that dude.
You mess that up, you break your toes. You can't plant. Like it's crazy. Yeah. But he hit him perfect, and obviously Ferguson didn't see it coming and just knocked him clean out.
Yeah. Dana White himself said that was probably one of the nastiest knockouts that he's ever seen in the UFC.
Yeah,
and
it was.
For Dana to say that, you could just. That should just give you a visual of
watching it. Just hurts me, man,
bro.
Oh yeah, nasty. Very painful. So. And then Chandler proceeds to call out both Gaethje and Olivier before their fight, saying, I want the winner. And, after those two did what they did, Olivier choking out Gaethje, Chandler knocking out Ferguson, they on a crash course. I believe they've fought here recently.
Didn't Chandler call out McGregor also?
Well, did he? I don't remember. He could have.
Pretty sure,
but everybody also calls out McGregor.
Yeah.
If you want to get paid, you fight Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and I think he wants to fight McGregor at 170 also. So he said he wants him at his biggest. So even if that's to get set up, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm sure
Yeah, you wouldn't do that. Especially if he's got a shot. If Damon White wants to get him a shot at the title, you don't. Mess
the title.
The
title fight's going to come first.
Yeah, Olivier beat Chandler. It was almost a year ago last year.
That's what I thought. I thought one of his
2 rounds.
And then Ferguson lost a championship fight a little while back too. To one of them, I can't remember who he lost to. But that division is very competitive. There's a lot of really good fighters in that, and I think Olivier is better, but Gaethje is still a very, very good fighter. I mean, there's no way to get out of a rear naked choke. So just
Mhm.
But anyways, I also caught a little bit of a big boxing match. I know you guys aren't real big on boxing, but I love me some boxing, some big names at least, and no bigger name than Canelo Alvarez in the world of boxing. And he fought this weekend. He fought the undefeated young up and coming Dmitry Bivol from Russia. The guy is a nasty competitor. Any guy from Russia who's a boxer, watch out for. And apparently so. Everybody said Canelo's going to win this fight. And the judges actually scored it very closely. But to my eyes and to most of Twitter's eyes, this was not a close fight. Canelo, I believe, lost probably 9 rounds of the 12, maybe 8. The judges scored it 7-5 in favor of Bivol, but Bivol he beat him. He beat Canelo. So now Bivol's 20-0. He beat him in 12 rounds to beat the best the number 1 pound for pound boxer in the world is pretty insane. They usually have the best boxer in the world fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, and Canelo just lost. He looked slow. He didn't look. It looked like he was just trying to use his power. Canelo was obviously the stronger fighter, but he just tried to use his power, and it just didn't go his way.
So I mean, I didn't get to watch any of the fight, but like from you watching it, do you think like he just came in not prepared or a little bit of a underestimating his opponent or what?
Canelo is usually prepared, but I think that his strategy wasn't really in the right mindset. Like Bivol is very fast. He's probably the more crisp boxer at this point in their careers. I mean, that was Canelo's let me do
Like
some quick
60
math.
something fight, right?
61st fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not as crisp this late in his career. I mean, he's very good. Obviously, that's only his second loss ever. Second actual loss. He's 57-2-2. So he had 2 draws, 2 no contests. But I just think that he just looked a little bit slower, and he should be. Dimitri's, I think, 10 years younger than him. He's up and coming. He's not only the future, but he's also the now of that division. He beat Canelo Alvarez and pretty handedly, I believe. Canelo caught him a few times, but nothing too crazy. Canelo was actually saved by the ropes one time. Looked like he almost got knocked out and was like leaning up against the ropes. If the ropes weren't there, he probably would have fallen over, and the world would have had a frenzy over that if Canelo was knocked over. But pretty crazy. I've never in my time watching Canelo Alvarez, which I've watched him for probably 6-7 years now, it was the most trouble I've seen him in any fight except for the Gennady Golovkin fight, the Triple G. So pretty crazy. A lot of fights this weekend. But I like to talk through those every once in a while when we can get to them, because obviously those are big events that happen not very often. So,
Popular athletes, though. So
for sure.
I like to
Canelo
cover.
Alvarez is probably a bigger athlete than 99% of the guys that we talk about on here. Like, he's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's LeBron James for boxing.
Mhm.
So it's pretty crazy. And I'm waiting for old Tyson Fury to fight again. He's my favorite fighter.
I love
that
watching
guy.
Tyson Fury, man.
Yes, sir.
He cracks me up.
Well,
That
I think
guy's
that's all.
huge, too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And he looks so unathletic, but he's so athletic to
He's
be
like
that big.
the Jokic
Jokic?
of boxing.
Oh yeah. But just toys with guys. You see
Yeah.
him fight guys like Wilder, and Wilder is shredded.
Shredded.
And Fury just has his way with him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I think we're going to move on a little bit from there. I love to talk us some fighting. We're all kind of alpha males. All of us are very competitive, very aggressive. So we love to watch some fights. Love to talk about that. But another aggressive sport we need to talk about. Josh is very thrilled to talk about this. Talk about the hockey playoffs, the NHL.
Hey.
We've got some awesome things going on there. Some big series going on.
Huge series, dude. Every series is so close too right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is one thing I'll say. I mean, I know you guys.
Besides Predators and Avalanche, we'll get to that.
One series has been 3-0. The other ones are all super close, man.
Yeah, and I mean, from the way you guys were talking, before this started, you had a lot of these teams, almost winning by a
Mhm.
landslide, so
Well, you kind of have to
Yeah.
look. That's the thing about hockey, though. You have to look and you have to watch and see what the teams have done all year, but it kind of doesn't matter
yeah. I
because
mean,
playoffs are just a different game. You
that's
just have to get
yeah.
in. Just get in. And
Y'all
if you
start
get
off
in,
that 0-0, so
That's what I think the most shocking is the Panthers and the Panthers being down. Like the Avalanche are the number 1 seed. They're playing the worst seed. They're up 3-0. That's what you expect. But the
Panthers,
Panthers,
Capitals.
the number 1, yeah, Panthers Caps, the number 1 seed to be down 2-1 right now to the lower seed. I mean, it's just anything can happen in the playoffs. Like it really can. Like
For sure.
it's not unusual for those teams to upset these big teams. But yeah, I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm excited to talk hockey for sure. What are we starting with?
So I think we're going to start with a little Bruins Hurricane. And
Mm.
Nate's favorite player in the NHL, Brad Marchand. How do you say his name?
Marchand.
Marchand. Nate doesn't really like this guy. Thinks he's a dirty player.
Oh,
From what I've heard.
he's widely known as the dirtiest player.
Right. But this guy is dominating this series. I want you guys to know a little stat. The first 2 games that the Bruins lost, Brad had 1 point total. In the 2 games they have won, he has 8 points, including 5 points today. I think you can very clearly see that they go as he goes. And we're going to see a couple of these series are kind of that way. They have a key player, and if that key player does well, great. And if he doesn't, you're going to lose.
And I think, yeah, Marchand is definitely he's a driving force for the Bruins, but I think it's that top line, that number 1 line that plays together. You got Patrice Bergeron, he's their captain, Marchand, assistant captain, and you got David Pastrnak. Those 3 guys literally are the heartbeat of the Boston Bruins. They've been with them forever. Like they're the driving force of that team.
Pound for pound, top
They're
3, top line in all of NHL.
Oh yeah, they're extremely talented, and they were talking about this game that just happened today, where penalties are really killing the Hurricanes and the Bruins. Like they just capitalized on it. And Bergeron, their captain, he had like a cut under his eye. He got elbowed or something, and he was literally bleeding from his eye. And the power play was going to go out, and he told his coach, "I'm going out there and I'm getting a goal for my team. It's a power play. It was a 2-man advantage, so it was a 5-on-3." And bloody eye and all, went out there, delivered. They got a goal to put them up 3-2, and they didn't turn back from there. So I mean, it's just the Patrice Bergeron is nasty. And they've even said when they interviewed Marchand, they're like, what is it with this guy? He's like, well, this man's played with a hole in his lung. This guy's played with broken ribs. Like literally nothing's keeping our captain down. And if you have a captain on a team, that's what you want out of your captain.
You can't ask for more than that. I mean,
so that
giving it all.
That top line's delivering. Yeah. And I mean, Marchand's getting assist. Bergeron had 3 points. Pastrnak had 2 points and a goal and assist. And then, as you said, Marchand has 9 points total in the first 4 games of the series. So 3 goals, 6 assists. So I mean, this line is delivering. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough.
Josh, this is also why I really want you to get into hockey, man. These hockey players are built different. He just mentioned everything with that Bruins guy. Listen to this. Barclay Goodrow, a center on the Rangers, played 2 whole games. But he had been complaining about ankle injury, but he played through 2 games. They did an x-ray. Dude was playing on a broken ankle for 2 whole games, skating.
Yeah, crazy.
These guys are insane.
And that's what I was just about to say. I don't watch a lot of hockey, but from what I do watch, and when like I told Nate, I watched the most hockey that I watched was when the Blues made that Stanley Cup final run, and so just some of the hits that I was watching during that time, and even this year, some of the hits that I've seen. These NHL players are just built different. I honestly compare them to football players when it comes to like being able to take that contact and stuff like that. But like they are definitely built different.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But yeah, I think that's the big takeaway from that. Bruins and Hurricanes, it's 2-2. It's tie series, and basically it's a 3-game series now. So
yeah.
who can win 2? And that's what a lot of these are. We're about to talk through in these games. These are all very close. Every series is 2-2 or 2-1 besides one series. So it's pretty crazy. And one of the series
Bruins
that's
are a
2-1
wild card team too.
for
Just throw
sure.
that
Well,
out
yeah.
there.
Well, I don't think anybody's underestimating them just because of their history and everything they've been able to do in the playoffs here recently.
Mhm.
No, they're coming in as the lower seed than the Hurricanes for sure, but I think the Hurricanes were pretty upset that they drew the Bruins. So
Yeah. No, anybody would. Yeah.
right, another hot team that drew a very veteran, a very proven team. Maple Leafs versus the Lightning. Maple Leafs are up 2-1 in this series, but Game 4 is about to finish up here, and the Lightning are up 5-1. A stat that I had for this series was Jack Campbell, the Maple Leafs goalie, was having a pretty good series. He had a 92.4% save percentage. He saved 85 of 92 shots and just was playing fantastic. And then came into this game and gave up 5 goals, and they've pulled him. They've pulled him from this game. Jack Campbell is widely known as one of the best goalies in the playoffs right now. And he
He's a
just wasn't
beast.
playing well, and he got pulled. And we've seen a lot of that. We're going to get to a couple games where that has happened. But yeah, they pulled Campbell, and their backup goalie hasn't given up anything yet, but too little, too late. I mean, it's 5-1. So that's a bad thing. Is it looks bad on goalies, but a lot of times it has to do with the defense, and the defense just not getting not checking the puck and not getting it out of their zone.
Yeah.
You know, if you're spending all that time in playing defense and playing on your half of the ice, there's not a lot your goalie can do.
Mhm.
So they've really let him down. I saw a couple of the goals, and there were ones that I think were just attrition goals. Jack Campbell probably would have saved in game 1 or game 2, but it's game 4, and he's pretty tired, and they just got past him. It wasn't looking as crisp, but his defense was also not playing very well. So this series is about to go 2-2. They're going to go back to Toronto for game 5, another 3-game series.
Yeah, and I feel like the Lightning, their stars are showing up. Even I think Stamkos was the one that scored right off the bat in the first period. And the Maple Leafs are really holding the Lightning, their stars, down. You know, like Kucherov. Some of these guys are just Steven Stamkos, the guy I just mentioned, who scored the first goal. These guys are stars, and the Lightning have a great team. And what's crazy is the Lightning have not trailed a series. Like, it's 2-1. They haven't trailed a series the last 8 series because they've won the championship. They never trailed in any of those series last 2 years. So it's different territory for them, but they knew that they needed to shine tonight and get after Campbell, and they're doing it. So, I mean, it's going to be a good series. We knew it was going to be, though.
Right. Well, yeah, and the key to this series was kind of each team's top line against each other. Who was going to prevail with those lines? Obviously, Stamkos plays on the Lightning's top line, and his line. I believe Kucherov's on that line, and I forget who plays left wing. Do you know who plays on the left side for them on that line? I don't remember who it is, but they're playing against Bunting, Matthews, and Marner for the Maple Leafs.
Andre Palat, sorry. Couldn't think of his name.
Yep. And those two top lines against each other are very nasty. And in this game, the top line for the Lightning are the ones who have prevailed. I mean, it's a 2-1 with those top line right now. And obviously, if the Maple Leafs can't get their top line going, they don't have as much depth, I don't think, as some of the other teams, because they've had to pay their top guys. They've had to pay Matthews. They've had to pay Marner. They've had to pay a couple of those guys to stay and play there. So their depth isn't as good. And for them, they have to win with line 1. And it just hasn't been the case so far.
I wish they'd switch Bunting. Michael Bunting, he scored the most points as a rookie this year. He's a rookie for the Maple Leafs, and they have actually been switching Alexander Kerfoot off the first line of the Maple Leafs with Bunting, like, back and forth. They've been shuffling that deck a little bit. So I don't know. I just feel like Bunting is just young. He can get it going, and they actually replaced him with Kerfoot halfway through. And in this game, I think they started Kerfoot on the top line. So they've been shuffling up a little bit, which is good to kind of see if you can get things going. But it's like, with Matthews and Marner, they're just such aggressive scorers. They'll shoot the puck. You got to get down in the crease. You got to get dirty. Look for those
Matthews kind
rebounds.
of
You know what
hasn't
I
been
mean?
anywhere to be found. He has an assist in this game, but had nothing last game.
Yeah.
And they really need to get him going. That's kind of been
Mhm.
the knock against him. He's been obviously as good in the regular season as you can ask a guy to be, but there has been some playoff woes in there for him, and he has disappeared sometimes. So I've they're needing him to get going for sure. But moving
Yeah.
on, the St. Louis Blues got a big win today, Nate.
Hey, I was worried there for a minute.
I did too. I had this schedule for this show lined up, and this was before today's game. And I said the high-powered offense of the Blues is sputtering in all caps.
Yeah.
And boy, did they show up today.
Oh, they showed up huge. And guys like Jordan Kyrou scored 2 goals tonight. One, I was telling you guys a little bit before the show how he was about to go forehand. Guy was in front of him. He kind of put on the brakes. He put on that little hezzy move between his legs, backhand. It was a nasty move. His mom's in the crowd. They like showed her. She's like cheering. And it was just really cool for Mother's Day. And even before that, he shot one. It hit off a defender, but he stayed with it. A guy tried to knock it down. He grabbed the puck. And after the goalie committed to that first shot and it hit off a defender, he was able to get the rebound and put it back in. So Jordan Kyrou has been really quiet. I mean, he won the fastest skater in the All-Star week, and he's been not really showing up. It's that whole line that he's on has been rough.
You could argue with it because you guys are a very deep team, but who was really more important to you guys this year, skating wise, than him? I mean, Tarasenko maybe, but Kyrou was really the driving force of you guys' team for a lot of the year. And for him, he really disappeared during the series. Coming into today's game, he had 1 point in 3 games, and it was assist. It wasn't a goal or nothing. And today he scored twice. I think he's finally starting to find his groove a little bit, and that's pretty scary for the Wild, and it's really good for the Blues because you can get that guy going. You guys can look pretty good. So.
Yeah, and the big thing before we move on is injuries. Injuries are
For
killing
sure.
us right now. I mean, we had to pull a dude from Springfield, one of our, AAA, AA teams. I know they don't call that in hockey, but that's a term that we're more familiar with. But basically, getting off our junior team to come, hey, you're starting in the playoffs. We're down a game. Good luck. But I can Krug's out for us. Bertuzzo's out. Peranovic we were able to have back, but
which we were raving on Krug in your guys' first game when
huge for
he
our
played
team.
so well.
Oh, dude, he's huge, and he's for our power play as well. Like he's very offensive minded, but he's both. Like he can defend.
Kind of like you guys' Adam Fox for like the Rangers.
Yeah, he can do everything. Yeah. And we started the game with 7. You're supposed to have
8 defensemen. 6 defensemen? What are you talking
6
about?
defensemen. Sorry, we're supposed to start with 6 defensemen. We started 7 because we were nervous about who would be out and start, like because our guys were just hurt. And I think who was it that left? I think it was Scandella. I think he got hurt halfway through again. Yeah, total ice time was a minute, so he was only on the ice for 1 minute. And then Santini, the guy that we called up, he only played 3 minutes on the ice. That means we have 5 defensemen that are playing big minutes for us.
And that's tough because usually you have a duo that you're always on the ice with, besides on special teams. And it's tough when you only have 5 to kind of rotate in and out with.
So Parayko and Folk, yeah, they both played over 30 minutes of ice time. The other guys were 16, 19, and 12, and then 3 and 1. So 2 guys played so much, which, I mean, I know they can do it. It's playoffs, you have to, and they're our best guys, but, we're really struggling, and I think we got to get these guys back. I mean, Krug, Bortuzzo, Nick Leddy, who we just traded for. We got to get these guys back, but we'll see. We tied it up. We're still in it.
Yep. Like I said, another 3-game series. This is crazy. I love hockey, man. Our first 3 series we've talked about are all come down to the next 3 games. So Kings and Oilers. The Oilers are really having their hand. They had their hand this last game yesterday. They play, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, and they're playing again tonight. The top 2 lines for the Oilers is just nasty. I mean, 2 of the probably top 5 offensive players in the league are their top 2 line leaders. Both their centers, McDavid and Draisaitl. Those guys are disgusting. And I found this stat pretty interesting. They've scored 17 goals in the first 3 games as a team. 13 goals are coming from those top 2 lines.
That's
So
crazy.
those 2 lines, those 6 players of their, their 12 offensive players, and that includes their defensive players as well. Defensive players can score. They've scored 13 of 17. So the Kings don't really have a answer to those top 2 lines. They're obviously holding down the bottom 2, which your top 2 are supposed to be your best offensive lines. But to score 13 of your 17 goals from your top 2 is pretty impressive and pretty scary. The recipe is just try to stop those 2, and that's way easier said than done for sure.
Oh yeah, special teams is crazy one-sided on this. Edmonton's like 6 for 11 in power play, and the Kings are 1 for 12 in the power play. That's games. That's
Well,
losing
and
and winning games.
Those top 2 lines play a lot in their power play, obviously, and their penalty kills as well. And they're just, I think, just the matchups there is just way too much for the Kings to really have any shot against.
I wanted to say before I know this isn't like a big teams or whatever, but Evander Kane, he was one that he's making huge headlines right now, and he's one that was, I mean, he was a star. Evander Kane was a star, but he had a bunch of COVID. He's kind of like that Kyrie in the NHL. Like you don't know what's going on with him. He's a wild card. He's all about himself.
Yeah, he's had a lot of headlines. Yeah,
he's had a lot of headlines, but the Oilers took a shot on him and say, hey, we need you. You can score. He's on that top line now, and dude is performing right now. I mean, there's no question that where this man's all
that
about.
Man said, give me the hat, because he got the hat trick on Friday night.
Yep.
Pretty nasty. But
super nasty.
He's disgusting to add him onto those top 2 lines with with McDavid and Draisaitl is.
Yeah, I'd love to play on that line with them if I could play hockey.
They could probably, I could play on that line and they'd probably still score. And I can't even skate. So those teams, they're so impressive, those guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move on. A little sad talk here for Timmy. The Penguins are up 2-1 on the Rangers. The Rangers are kind of showing that they don't have much playoff experience, that they're still a pretty young team. They do have some veterans, but for the most part, we don't have a lot of playoff experience on the squad. The only playoffs most of these guys have had was in 2020 when they did that weird kind of playoff thing, and it wasn't really even playoffs, and they got swept out of it. It wasn't really anything that I would consider playoff experience. Penguins' first line, though, was just too much for the Rangers defense to handle. That Crosby line is just all in our face the entire time. And and if you look at the stats, it's not crazy one-sided for their line over their other lines. But the pressure that they keep bringing on our defense and on Igor Shesterkin is wearing them down so that those other lines have it way easier just to come in and score at will. And I think that's what they have done. In Game 3, Igor was actually pulled from the game. He gave up 4 goals in the first period.
Yeah,
but watching the game, he was kind of like what I was talking about with Jack Campbell. He was pretty looked pretty tired and looked like he was kind of out of it. But we're also talking about a guy who played 6 periods of hockey in Game 1, played Game 2, and played Game 3. Has played lights out for us this year, so we cannot blame him at all. And the defense was just playing pretty sorry. They had the top line, that Crosby line, was just all up in our face, man. And we just couldn't get them out. We couldn't check the puck. They were just kind of doing what they wanted with it. And it led to bad things for the Rangers. The Rangers actually came back in that game. And made it very interesting, but we couldn't.
I was going to say that's a high note for you for sure. Like that's the Rangers. They've been coming back all year.
Yeah.
They made it interesting.
I think we actually, I could be wrong on this, but I think we were top 3 in third period goals this year. In our third period, at least plus or minus, because we hold teams to very few goals in the third period typically, and we score a lot in the third period. But this game ended 7-4. It was a lot closer than that. It was really 5-4, but 2 of them were empty net goals at the end of the game. So, but not a whole lot for me to say on that. There's 14 points from the Penguins' top line in the first 3 games. Like that's pretty good. It's not like top of the playoffs for a line, but it's like I said, it's not resulting in as many points probably as they would want, but it's resulting in points for their other lines because of how much pressure they're bringing on us.
You got Igor
Just
Shesterkin though, bud. I mean, we know
oh
that
yeah,
he's going to be back in that net, a whole new game, game 4.
he's been pulled twice like that this year, and
Yeah.
each time he was
Sometimes it's not
pulled,
your
he
night,
came back.
literally.
It's not your night. And one thing that Gallant, our head coach, said was the first earlier in the year he got pulled, and he called out the entire team after the game. He said, "Igor's been playing lights out for us this year. Why would I make him suffer through a team that's playing like dog bleep?" So he pulled him and put in their backup goalie because he said Igor shouldn't have to put up with that. And I was like, "Oh my!" So our coach is really on Igor's side, which he should be. I mean,
And the
Igor's
players are too. I saw Justin Braun
right
had
for
a
sure. They were
defenseman. Yeah,
all saying about him,
he was
talking about
saying
him.
dude's going to be dialed in for sure tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Basically saying it happens. I mean, they got faith in him. And why wouldn't you? Dude's going to win the Venenza trophy for sure.
right.
You know
And
what I mean?
probably in top 3 in MVP as a goalie. Like,
Mhm.
it's pretty insane. It's kind of like Josh. It's like a pitcher winning MVP in baseball.
Yeah.
It's like not really something that happens very often.
Yeah,
But
they're going to be okay. I think it's going to be a good series. It might be a
the
long one, but
biggest thing though,
every
biggest
series has
thing
been
for
that way.
us is we've really had to adjust our defensive lines. Like you said, injuries happen, and Ryan Lindgren plays on our top defensive line with Adam Fox. One of it's been our most consistent line this year, obviously, because Fox is an absolute beast. But Lindgren plays very well with him. They complement each other very well. Fox is a very good defensive player, but he's very offensively minded, and Lindgren is just a straight up defensive player. And the way that those two play together, they've clicked all year. So for Lindgren to be out, they've had to adjust their lines, and it's just been a very big loss for us. Just messing with the flow of everything. So we really need to either get him back or really figure out our lines here. Braun's been playing with Fox, and they look okay together. But you can tell that they just haven't played a whole lot on the same line. So we'll see how that one goes. We kind of talked earlier about the Capitals and Panthers. Panthers being the top seed, and the Capitals have a 2-1 series lead over them. The Capitals' veteran presence and experience is having its way. That's usually, what our storyline is for all of these games. Who's got the most veteran presence, and that's really been who's leading the games. Obviously, Alex Ovechkin, everybody knows about him. They know how crazy good he is, one of hockey's best players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how you slice it up. But it's not just him. It's not just his line. A stat that I actually found, 10 of the 12 offensive players for the Capitals had a point on Saturday. 10 of 12 of them. They either had an assist or a goal. So, they're getting production from everybody. They're scoring from everywhere, and they're bringing it. I mean, they're going to have to. The Panthers are a very good team.
I feel like they're just getting better too. Capitals are just getting better and better.
Oh,
and
they're just picking up steam and picking up confidence.
I love watching TJ Oshie. I wish the Blues never would have got rid of him. He used to be a Blue, and I just love watching him play, dude. He fits
so very well with the team. So
yeah, I saw Evgeny Kuznetsov. He got fined the maximum amount, which I think it's like $10,000 or $15,000 for a high sticking dude, like totally smack somebody. And sometimes, obviously, it's accident. You're trying to get a puck, you don't know what's happening. But dude,
I saw that play. It looked pretty intentional. So, but yeah, not a whole lot
Panthers
else to
can
say
score
about
though.
The Panthers, you can't count these guys out. They're only down one game, and they can come back and win all 3, but it ain't going to be easy.
They have to battle those 50-50 pucks, and they got to battle. That's all they got to do.
So do you guys think that, that series right there could be one that could have an upset there, or do you think that for sure the Panthers are going to come back?
It for sure could.
Right now, it could definitely be an upset.
I mean, the Panthers are definitely a team that everybody didn't want to play in the regular season. But it's kind of like with the Bruins. You see a team like that, and like in the regular season, the Rangers kind of had their way with the Bruins. But I'm so glad we weren't matched up with them in the first round, because that's a team you don't want to play. And the Capitals, I feel like, are kind of the same way. They have a lot of veteran presence, and obviously one of the best players ever on their team. So the Capitals' defense and goaltending isn't the best, but they've played well enough for them to win. So.
And Sam, their goalie for the Capitals, Ilya Samsonov, they were like all chanting his name like at the end of the game, and they like interviewed him, and he was like, "Yeah, I was like close to crying at the end of the game after basically allowing one goal against the top line in all of hockey throughout the whole season." It was just really cool to see him just at it. But like I said before at the beginning, before we even started talking about these games, is you get a hot goalie going. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, man. I
For
mean,
sure.
that goalie
For
can lead
sure.
you all the way because people will start playing harder for you. You stop some of their grade A chances. I mean, it can change a series. So I don't know.
Next series we have is the Avalanche Predators. I'm not going to spend but 15 seconds on this series because I think that this one is probably a sweep. It's probably over.
Yeah.
My takeaway from this is, will the Avalanche sweep the Predators on their own ice? That's really the only question I have for this. The Avalanche have 16 goals in 3 games so far. So they're averaging over 5 goals per game. They're just offensively exploding. That's just how they are. It's a team that they are. They're probably the most overall consistently best team that's in the playoffs. And the Predators are just no match. There's nothing they
Big
can do.
thing for I'm not going to spend long on this one either, but big thing is Darcy Kemper, the main goalie for the Avalanche, did get hurt last game in their
I saw that.
7-3 win. He took a stick to the by Ryan Johansson. I don't think it was intentional, but it literally went through his mask and hit him in the face, and he had to get replaced by Pavel Francois or Franzus. I don't know what this guy's name is. Basically, he's not Darcy Kemper. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. They said they're going to evaluate him. Hopefully, he's doing good. They're hopeful he can be back in the net, but
basically, that's basically the Avalanche's only thing is they know that they're going to win this series. You got to keep people healthy. So
he was in a lot of pain for sure.
Big.
I don't know if he broke his nose or what, but it's interesting. So I don't know. But I mean, the Avalanche are
they might, even if he's healthy, might sit him game 4 just because they honestly probably don't need him. So we'll see. Stars and Flames, though, is our last hockey to talk about here. And I know we're spending a lot of time on hockey. We're going to try to move through this quickly. But the Stars are up 2-1 in this one. And my takeaway from this is the veteran goal scoring and young athletic goalie recipe for success for them. They've had really good goalkeeping from Jake Ottinger. He's given up 3 goals in 3 games. I mean, you're giving up a goal a game, you're going to be very successful in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not, especially in the playoffs, man, giving up a goal a game, which obviously the Flames are a good team, very good, and they're not probably not a top team, but they're very solid. But to be giving up a goal a game, I mean, that guy's playing lights out. But like I said, the Flames have only scored 3 times, and Joe Pavelski has scored 3 goals himself for Dallas. So he's
proven vet.
Yep, and he's keeping right up with the Flames as a team. So anything that the Stars do besides him is just extra. So it's pretty crazy that veteran combo plus that young goalie is a big thing for a lot of these teams that we didn't really talk about. Teams that have goalies that haven't been in the league very long, you're more athletic. Your reflexes are probably better, honestly. With the veteran goal scoring too, recipe for success. So that one's 2-1. The Stars.
This one surprised me a little bit, and this one's the 7 and the 2. I know the Flames are a nasty team, and all I can say about this is the Stars are just playing extremely physical. And for this top line as well to not produce, and Johnny Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm, and Matthew Tkachuk, another guy that I absolutely love, for them to not contribute and do what they need to do. They scored a 302 points the regular season from the 3 of them. Right. I mean, they're just a nasty group, and the Stars are just playing physical. And this one surprised me too, but I mean, I don't know. There's still a lot of games left, man, and we're seeing these series that are just so close. So I'm excited.
Well, and these games have all been kind of weird too. The game that the Flames did win, they won 1-0, I believe. And there wasn't a lot of shots on goal in that game. But then this last game, the Stars won 4-2, and the Flames had 41 shots on goal in that game. So it's kind of been up and down. They've been physical, like you said, and they've been dominating at sometimes, and other times the goalie's just showing up. So it's been an interesting series for sure, and I'm interested to see how that one turns out for us. We're going to move on here, though. We got some baseball to talk about here real quick. We got some big series that happened. One thing I do want to say before we get into these series is rain is becoming quite the problem. Obviously, it's May. There's going to be rain. I don't know why teams just don't build a dome, but we have seen domes be very problematic in baseball. If you're going to build them, you have to build them right. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays, look at their awful stadium, and you'll know
Build it
why
like the
domes.
Astros.
Right, you got to build one like that, or one that's got
I love that one,
retractable
man.
at least, man,
Yeah,
to
that's
where
so
your
awesome.
problems only happen if it's raining. Like I think guys would rather deal with those problems that come with the dome when it's raining than have to play. Like the Yankees are about to have to play 22 games in 21 days because of rainouts. I don't think any player wants to do that, obviously. So they've got to do something about that. But there were 6 games that were rained out on Friday and 3 more on Saturday. The Rangers and Yankees series, both Friday and Saturday, both games got rained out. So they had to play a doubleheader today and play again tomorrow. And the Mets Phillies had 2 games rained out. Luckily, theirs was a Thursday through Sunday series, so they were able to play 3 games at least. That's the first one we're going to talk about. Mets Phillies. The Mets took 2 of 3 from the Phillies, and on Thursday night, the Mets had one of the craziest comebacks I've seen in a while. They were down 7-1 going into the 9th inning, and the Mets just went crazy. Scored 7 in the 9th. Did you guys see that? Wasn't that
I did
crazy?
see that. I watched that. I replayed that inning before I went to bed. I was watching it. It was insane. I'd hate to be there and as
they've
a
done that a
Philly
couple
fan.
times too, man. 9th
Did it
inning
against the
comebacks.
Cardinals last week.
Cardinals, yeah, the Cardinals were.
We were up 3 or 4. We were up 3.
No, you guys scored, and they scored 5, something like that. But they scored 5 in the 9th.
They scored 5 in the 9th, yeah.
On a bunch of miscues. It was miscues, some timely hitting.
Yep, a little bit of everything.
We are going to talk about the Cardinals too. Cardinals had a big series against the Giants. We had a 4-game series, and each team took 2 games, so no real headway happened here. But there were some interesting games. I know, Nate, you watched quite a few of these games. You got some bits and pieces of them. You got any takeaways from this series?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 takeaways. Cardinals made a huge mistake with Paul DeJong as he's batting 131, and he's even worse this season as he was last year. And they could have
He was bad last year.
Correa. They could have got Seager, maybe. Story was in there. Baez, Simeon. Literally, they could have got anybody. I don't even care. And right now, I hope they call up Nolan Gorman, this young guy, to come play because I just don't know what they're doing with this man. The problem with the Cardinals, why you see this up and down all the time, and why they're like this is because against left-handed pitching, our OPS is like almost 900. Insane. Right-handed pitching, we're like 600, like low 600s.
Put that in perspective. A 900 OPS would be a above all-star level hitter. Would be like close to an MVP type level. Think of guys like Bryce Harper area OPS. A 600 OPS is your team's backup catcher. So they're hitting like Bryce Harper against lefties, and they're hitting like backup catchers against righties.
We just have no like all we have is righties, I don't know.
Obviously, that's how the Yankees were a couple years ago, and we had to switch it up. We got Rizzo, Gallo, and even Hicks being back as a switch hitter has really helped things too. But you just got to diversify that lineup a little bit. Yeah, I heard you talking a little bit before. It might be a little wishful thinking, but Cardinals rumored to be trying to get Whit Merrifield from the Royals. That would be an addition. You guys
make a move. I've heard the names of Joey Wendell. Is it Joey Wendell?
Joey Wendell
from the Marlins. I've heard his name thrown around, and Whit Merrifield. And if they need to trade some pieces for it, I'd say do it. I mean,
right?
And
they're probably not going to play everywhere too. But yeah, your Cardinals aren't really ones who go out and make big trades like that during the season. But they could. You never know. That's Josh's big knock on the Cardinals. He thinks that they don't do enough.
I just don't understand. Yeah, I just don't understand why you wouldn't try to build the team to your best ability to try to win a championship. I mean, it's been how many years for the Cardinals and them us hoping they make the wild card or something like that. Like, come on, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they make the playoffs. I mean,
yeah,
but they lost to the World Series champs last year. I mean,
at the same time though, like we're barely getting in, man, and it's just frustrating as a fan. But
you see the highs, and I think people are on it.
That's what the thing about the Cardinals is as much as much grief you guys give me for being a Yankees fan, the Cardinals are very much in the same boat as the Yankees. You guys are very used to success. I mean, the Yankees have 27 championships, like pretty crazy, but the Cardinals have the second most. Like you guys are the second winningest franchise in baseball history. And
Mm-hmm.
for you guys, like Josh, you know how much the Seattle Mariners fans would love to be able to say, man, we're barely making the playoffs every year. Like Mariners
Yeah.
haven't made the playoffs since 2001. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Like, which obviously that's an extreme. They have the longest playoff drought there is, but it's pretty. We are all three of us are very blessed as baseball fans to have very good baseball teams because we expect championship or bust every year.
Yeah.
For teams like, even the Red Sox, they've won more championships this decade than the Yankees have. But even for them to make the playoffs, that's like a big thing for Boston. For the Yankees, we expect to be there. Like that, we don't get excited to be in the playoffs. We get excited to be in the World Series. Like
You want to win and all.
Right, exactly. But speaking of the Yankees, you guys know I love to talk about the Yankees. Oh man, I love them so much. AL East Yankees are in first place. They're 8-2 in their last 10. People are coming at me because the Yankees have actually shown that they can lose here lately. They lost the second game of their doubleheader, and I got a text from Aiden. If you're watching this, he texted me and he said the Yankees choking right now. I'm like, bro, we have won 13 of our last 14 games. What do you expect? We're gonna lose a game. Like
Can't
people just expect us to not lose a game anymore.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. But what's crazy is we have had that crazy winning streak. We're 13 of our last 15 now because we lost today. The Rays are only 2 games back. Like that division is so crazy. Division is insane. We're on the biggest tear baseball. We're the hottest team in baseball, and
Gotta be.
we're still only 2 games ahead. Right, we have to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in first place. And right behind them is the Blue Jays. Red Sox have kind of fallen on their face, and the Orioles are the Orioles. But it's a lot closer than it should be was the fact that we've been on this big of a tear. The AL Central, the Twins are winning that division right now. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're 7-3 in their last 10.
White Sox are picking it up, though.
White Sox are picking it up. Yeah, you're right. They are on a 6-game winning streak. We were really giving them we were really talking bad about them and giving them a hard review and telling them they really need to look in the mirror and see what team they've constructed. But I think they took that to heart from our last episode because since then they have won 6 straight, obviously, and are coming for the Twins. The Twins have also had some injuries happen. Carlos Correa got hurt. They thought that he broke his hand or his finger, but it's actually just a strain. So that's okay. That's really good for them. But the White Sox are coming. They're coming for them. They're 3 games back, and the Guardians have actually been a very impressive team this year. They're 14-14, 500. My brother's a Guardians fan, and I told him expect to lose a lot this year. And they're a 500 team. But I also didn't take into account the fact that they play with the Tigers and the Royals. So you're obviously going to beat those teams quite a bit. Those teams stink. But I also want to talk AL West, the Angels.
You see the walk-off today.
We keep talking about the Angels, man, and it's something that we're kind of getting used to. The Angels top of this division. I mean, how much do we talk about Mike Trout needs more help? And we were playing actually MLB The Show last night, and I can't remember who, someone mentioned Mike Trout should kind of do a Matt Stafford. Hey man, I've done a lot for your franchise. You haven't done a lot for me. Please trade me type thing and go win a championship somewhere else. And it makes a lot of sense. They've been an okay team with him on there, and when he's out, they're pretty awful. And he just kind of needs to go somewhere. But this year they're proving, hey, we got Shohei, we got Rendon, we got some young guys who are contributing. We finally got some pitching. We got Syndergaard.
Walsh is doing pretty good.
Walsh, yeah. And they're coming for that division. They're coming for the pennant. They are 19-11, but half a game back is the Astros. They're going to stay in it.
But it's going to be cool.
They're going to be there. It's going to be a 2-man race for sure. The Mariners are 3 games under 500. The Rangers and
Disappointed in
Athletics
them.
are stinking too. So
I think the
not a
Mariners.
whole lot.
Disappointed in the Mariners, man. I thought they were gonna be a lot better, honestly.
Yeah, they added some big pieces. They got Jesse Winker, right, and they
Mhm.
got a couple of pieces, man, and they're just not playing very good ball right now. National League East, same team as last week. Most of these are the same as last week. Not a
Mhm.
whole lot of shifting going on, and in the NL East, there won't be. The Mets have a 6-game lead in their division. They are 20-10. They have the most wins in baseball. Yankees still have the best winning percentage, though. But the Mets, 20-10, they're 6 of their last 10, so they have shown that they can be beat. But still, it doesn't matter. They're 6 games ahead of the Braves. And the Phillies, man, I mean, the Phillies played well against the Mets, I think, besides that Thursday game. The Phillies are 12-16. They are just very disappointing for me.
Underperforming, man.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, there were 28 games into the season. But if you don't have a hot start, it's really hard to catch up on those teams like the Mets. I mean, how do you expect to gain 7 games on the Mets in the next month or two? Like, that doesn't look like that's going to be possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got a lot of work to do. But, I mean, there is always the wild card they can come to. But a team that good shouldn't be wanting to make the wild card. NL Central, like we talked about, the Cardinals have played pretty well recently.
Brewers are hot.
But the Brewers are the Brewers, man.
They lost 2,
10.
They're hot right now.
They're 19-10. They're 7 of their last 3. They've lost 2 in a row, but they are 7 of their last 10. Or 7, won 7 of their last 10. They're 19-10. The Cardinals are 2.5 back, and then the rest of the Central is pretty awful. Pirates 5 games under 500. Cubs are 9-17. They're actually playing right now. What's the score to that game? Oh, they're down 7-1, bottom of the 9th against the Dodgers. That makes sense. Cubs stink, but as bad as the Cubs are, they're not even the worst in the division because those Reds are awful. 5-23. Like, should we send them down and send up like the Yankees AAA team? I mean, what's going on?
Probably shouldn't say much.
23.
Yeah, and I think the Dodgers have a better winning percentage than anybody right now. Which they, like you said, they haven't played.
Yeah, 720. They do. You're right. Yep. And they're about to win this game. Yeah, but a lot of Yankees and Dodgers have had quite a few games rained out. Very bumming, but
Padres are staying with them though. Josh, your second adopted team.
Yep. I mean, hit a little walk off today, a little Jorge Alfaro. Man, as much as I give the Cardinals crap, I guess I got to fall back and be a little bit of a Padres fan as well when Cardinals aren't doing so hot. So,
yeah, they're only a game back, and the Dodgers are hot as can be. They're about to win this game. They're going to go 19-7, a 6-game winning streak. The Dodgers are going to be on, but the Padres they're only 2 games back, or a game and a half back. I'm sorry, a game and a half back of them. And I want to talk about this National League West for just a second before we move on to basketball. I've been talking all year, the AL East being the best division in baseball. This NL West, I think, is probably the best. Every team is over 500.
Crazy.
Every team.
Yeah.
But these guys beat up on each other, but then go out and play every other division and smack them around. Like, I remember people saying, oh, the D-backs stink. No, they started out the year playing their division a lot. Then they went and played other divisions and smacked them around. They beat the Cardinals in a series. And they've just really, really shown that, hey, yeah, we play in a really tough division, but we're a really tough team. They took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They've beaten the Mets quite a few times, actually. They swept the Marlins. And the Marlins aren't a team that, you can really be proud of sweeping, but they swept them as the worst team in their division. So that division is crazy. We're going to move on. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can get beat by any of those 5 teams. But we're going to move on to basketball here. We've spent a lot of time here. And thanks, guys, for spending this time with us. We've really passionate about sports, and so we talk a little bit longer than we probably should. But we're going to hit on basketball here, and then we'll let you guys go. 76ers Heat. That game is live right now. Boys, what's the score to that? I have not been looking.
Actually, a close one. It's
I've been watching.
85-87.
Oh, wow. Jimmy Butler's got 32, Embiid's got 24. As they're about to end the third quarter. But Embiid, I remember Nate in our group text, I said Embiid's probably going to play in game 3, and you said it's not going to matter. Well,
Yeah, I
I
was
think
wrong.
I think you accidentally sent that text to his phone because he said, okay. And he actually didn't have that crazy of a game, but it was his defensive presence. He shut down Bam Adebayo. I think Bam shot 2 for 9 from the field, something crazy like that. Just having his presence out there. And the team just played very well defensively, and they shut down the Miami Heat. Miami Heat can score from all over. They're one of the deepest teams in the playoffs.
79 points.
Yeah, and just shut them down.
That's insane. They got more points now in its third quarter.
For sure. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I know we had the Miami Heat moving on in this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie to you, I think we might have been wrong on this one, boys. With the way the 76ers are playing right now. Yeah,
they've got to close this game out.
Yeah.
They're up 4 going into the fourth, but they've got to close it out. They've got to finish it.
If Philly wins this one, this is probably going to 7 games, but I'm gonna have to switch my pick, boys. And I'm gonna have 76ers pulling this one out. I think the Joel Embiid coming back, that really lit a fire under the 76ers. And I mean, you're looking at
he
this
didn't
game
even do anything though. I mean, he might have let a fire.
But
yeah, that doesn't matter. Just having that guy there,
like, come on, like it matters. And when you said last podcast that you had the Heat sweeping these boys,
I said ain't no shot, bro. I mean, maybe 5 or 6, but
I mean, the 76ers are missing a guy who's averaging 30 points a game. Like you have to give him at least 1 or 2. And I mean, I think we should honestly give him the series. If they win this game, I think they're going to pull this out. And
I still got the Heat winning, but I do agree with you. I think it's going to go 7. But I just think the Heat are so deep, man. And they're in game 3, they're not going to shoot like that every game.
I mean, no, but if you're
play that. But
Danny Green ain't showing up every game like that either.
No, but if you get double digits from Green or Harris, and then at the same time Harden and Maxey, drop almost at least 20, then that's gonna be tough to beat. Because I mean, like in this game right now, you have Maxey with 14 and Harden with 15, and then Embiid has 24 to go along with Green's 11. So I mean, if they're getting production like that, then I think they could pull it off.
I think they could. It's going to be very interesting to see. And
what's this game?
Fourth quarter,
like,
sure.
Jay, you been watching this game? Like,
yeah, I've been watching. They're battling. I'm not gonna lie. It's going.
Butler's showing. Hey, man.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about Embiid a lot, and you're forgetting that I'm a perennial all-star. I'm one of the best two-way players in the game, and I can do it all. He's shooting 10, 15, 32 points. He's got 2 steals. I mean, the guy's playing his heart out there.
Yeah.
But
I was watching this, and I was watching this, and they were like, they had Lowry, Butler, and Victor Oladipo all on the floor, and I'm just like thinking to myself, this team is so deep, dude. Like it is crazy.
Lowry's struggling tonight, though. 0 for 6, a 3
for 10. Yeah,
sounds like they're trying to get away from hero scoring too. Like they're really focusing on him. Like they're tired of him.
Which is good because that guy can go off, man. Oh,
yeah,
he's so nasty. But he just doesn't take bad shots. Like they are focusing on him and making him pass it out, and he will though. I mean, he's 4 for 8. He's 1 for 4 and 3. But he's like, you know what? They're gonna focus on me to that. I'll let somebody else score because he knows that team's so deep. He's just gonna pass it out. And Jimmy Butler said, "Hey, I'm gonna go out and I can win this for us."
Yeah.
So, but another interesting series here, the Mavericks and Suns, man. The Mavericks tied up the series today. Boys, I mean, what's to make of that? I mean, somebody that Nate told us to watch out for is playing kind of well. Good old DSF, Dorian, or DFS. Dorian
DFS.
Yeah. We'll work on that, Tim. We'll work on it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys suck, but Dorian Finney-Smith does not. 24 points. But one thing that
yes, sir,
you told us to watch out for, you said, you know what? he might not bring that much offensively, but he's going to shut down Devin Booker. Well, he said, well, I can't shut down Devin Booker, but I can give you 24 because Booker had 35, but the Mavs still lost, or Mavs still won. And Luka didn't even play very well. He went 9 for 25, 1 for 10 from 3, 26 points, but Brunson had 18. They got 10 from Dinwiddie, 11 from Kleba, 12 from Bertans. Like I said, 24 from Finney Smith. They just had scoring from all over the field. And what's going on with Chris Paul, though? 5 points today?
I don't think
kind
we
of
should
shut
really,
down in game 3.
I don't think we should make a big deal out of that. Dude's been showing off all playoffs.
Right,
He's a
and
vet.
he's
That's
one of
probably
the most clutch
honestly
players of all time.
yeah,
But
never gonna happen again.
I mean, game 3 and game 4, he has not played very well. So
That is true.
Something to watch for at least. And another one
Yeah.
that I think I'm very high on Bridges. We've talked about him a lot. He had 6 points today. He can't, like I said, I think he's their third best player. I mean, people say Ayton is. I think Bridges is a better overall player. Ayton's just dominant because the center position has kind of fallen by the wayside, in my opinion. But Bridges is just did not play good at all. Looking kind of lost out there. So they need to get him back on track. That's what's scary, though. The Mavericks, they beat the Suns today, but the Suns only had 5 points from Paul and 6 from Bridges. I mean, if those guys have a regular night, 15 points, the Suns win by 10, which I mean is easy to say.
Yeah.
But it's something to watch for sure. But the Mavs are showing some fight. They tied it up, and they say, hey, man, these guys might be the best team in the league, but we aren't going to let them have this. We're going to come out, and we're going to blitz them.
Nate, you have the Mavs moving on in this, right?
I do have the Mavs moving on. I picked them, and I think they can get production from some other people that they can move on. And he needs help. Doncic needs help. He can't do it all himself.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing. The last 2 games, Doncic has not had like that many points. He scored in the 20s, I think, both games. So, and they've won.
Yeah.
So kind of for them, spread out the ball a little bit more, right?
Like you've said, like you said, Tim, you had Brunson also, dropping a decent amount of points in both these games
18,
also.
Yeah.
So
So they just got to have guys show up, which is what we talked about after the first 2 games. They didn't have anybody show up. And now that they have, the Suns kind of have their hands full.
Yep.
And I mean, Booker dropped 35 and they still lost. So it's kind of like they flipped this. Before, the Suns were getting scoring from everybody, and Luka was dropping 45 and they were losing. Well, now you flip it around. Booker's got 35 and not getting much scoring from anybody else.
Yeah. The Mavs have made something out of this, and it's going to be interesting.
Their supporting cast is showing up, and that's what they got to have that every night. There's
right.
Yeah.
Bucks and Celtics, though. The Bucks took a big game yesterday. They're up 2-1 in the series. And I think biggest takeaway from this, obviously, it's pretty obvious. I mean, Giannis continues to show he's not only the best player in this series, probably in the NBA. This guy takes over games, and he's right now probably the most unguardable player there is.
Yeah.
The fact that you can, and Nate used to really dog on this guy, saying, oh man, Giannis is not that good. All you got to do is spread it out in the paint. Don't let him drive, make him shoot it, that kind of thing. And Giannis, I mean, still shot 1 for 6 from 3. And they're guarding him crazy, but this guy is still shooting well in the paint, getting what he wants. He had 42, 12, and 8 on Saturday. Insane. And they only won by a bucket. They won 103-101. But they had 25 from Drew Holiday. Yeah. And, granted, they don't have Middleton in this series. So the Bucks are just winning this, and Giannis is saying, hey, man, I'm going to win this for us no matter what. We aren't losing this series.
He's showing out. But I think Tatum literally choked, man. I'm telling you, dude.
4 for 19.
Dude was terrible. Yeah, he was 2 of 9 at halftime. Third quarter was bad. And then literally the fourth quarter, he only put up 2 shots in the fourth quarter. And he was just trying to get Brown and Al Horford to score, which they were doing it. And another thing I was excited to see that we actually saw a successfully intentional missed free throw for the first time.
Yeah, with Marcus.
I don't think I've ever seen that before ever. But
love the hair, by the way. Love the Marcus Smart
4 seconds left, which he was wanting a 3. Did you guys think that was? Did you guys see that play where he was literally like pulling up, like his arms were going up just like this? Now I don't know if he was passing it or just pulling up, but I don't know. But the dude's arm was right across him. He pulled up and then he tried to like shoot it. They're like, no, that's on the floor. But he could have had 3 free throws there to
Yeah, I
seal.
saw that. I saw that, and I think it's kind of one of those bang bang plays. You can kind of let it go either way.
I don't know, man.
But I think they definitely could have called it. That would have really changed the outcome of the game. But then again, that's hearsay, and you can kind of just say that. Who knows? He might not have hit all 3 of them. He could have hit all 3 of them, but who knows? It definitely would have changed the outcome of the game. One thing I do want to see, though, is like you said about Tatum, he played very passive. I want to see him get to the free throw line. The man shot 3 free throws on Saturday, not playing aggressively at all. You know, a lot of times if they say if your shot's not falling, get to the free throw line.
Yeah,
because it's just a rhythm. You know, get into a
the
rhythm.
ball go through the hoop.
Right, exactly. In a free throw, I mean, the dude's an 85% free throw shooter. I mean, he's going to make his free throws. So just seeing the ball go in the hoop like that, like you said, I mean, Jaylen Brown, they were relying on him to win the game. He got to the free throw line 11 times. So I want to see more of that from Tatum, be more aggressive and show that, hey, Giannis might be the best player on that court, but I'm second, and it's pretty close is what Tatum should be saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're 100% right. It's easy for us to say, I mean, they're obviously the ones playing, but Tatum and Brown have to go off every night if they're going to win this series.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now with the way Giannis is pretty much just doing whatever he wants on the court, if you're Jason Tatum, you can't be having a 4 for 19 and 10-point night and expect to do well in this series. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's easy for us to say, but
another thing too is Robert Williams. You know, they were really talking about how he is a catalyst to defense, and I even said that. That guy played 23 minutes on Saturday, and he was minus 13 in the plus or minus. Like Giannis was just able to go right at him and do whatever he wanted. Williams couldn't guard him, couldn't stop him, so they took him off, and they played Grant Williams, who actually played pretty well. But they need to do something about that. They need to figure out what Williams' problem is and figure out how to – because he's the anchor of that defense. I mean, in those 23 minutes, he had 3 block shots. But you can't have a guy out there who's block or he's going to block them 1 out of every 20 possessions, and then they're going to score the other 19. Like that's what it seemed like when the Bucks had him on the floor against him. So I don't know. He needs to get it going. And last series, Warriors and Grizzlies, 2-1 Warriors.
So you guys still have the Celtics though, right? Or are we switching Bucks too? Or are you switching this one? Because I know we switched from the Heat. Or Josh is thinking.
I'm switching mine from definitely for the Heat.
So you got Sixers and Bucks now, eh? Okay, yeah. I still got Celtics coming out.
I'm gonna stick with my gut. When I had the Celtics beforehand, I don't know why I did that because I love Giannis. I love the Bucks. I shouldn't have done that, but I'm going to stick with it. I mean, the Celtics were hot, yes.
Yeah,
but
the way they were playing coming into round 2, I mean, it was hard to bet against them, But
right, for sure.
Also, it's at the same time I should have really, looked at who they were going up against in round 2, and it's also hard to bet against Giannis. So I don't know. I'm not going to switch my pick here. I'm also going to stay with the Celtics.
Yeah, I'm not going to. But like you said, something I probably should have thought about a little deeper instead of just riding on the recency bias.
Philly went on an 8-0 run too to start the 4th, and they're up by 10 right now.
Yeah,
wow.
Looking good.
Grizzlies Warriors though, there's a lot of drama in this series, a lot of hard fouls, a lot of questionable calls, a lot of things that aren't going the way of the Grizzlies in this. Dylan Brooks was suspended for this game. Josh was very happy to see that. Nate was not. And the Warriors shot historic last night. Shot 63% from the field, 53% from 3. They just overwhelmed the Grizzlies. They scored over 140 points. What do you do to stop that? Those guys, I was watching it for a little bit, and Klay Thompson literally grabbed the ball and shot from 1 foot on the 3-point line. Just like step forward, shot like that, and made it. And it was like the easiest shot, what it looked like to him. And there's like only a couple guys on the planet who can make that shot. And he just drains it.
And I was talking to some of my friends, and they're big Warriors fans, and they were kind of mad at the way John Morant was kind of carrying himself on the court, talking trash to Curry and all that. But honestly, I agree with them. Being young like that, he hasn't done anything in the league really, so I don't really think he should be out there running his mouth in this series. When also you could, I mean, granted Curry dropped 30, but neither Clay or Curry have really had that Clay or Curry Splash Brothers game.
Clay
So
did just yesterday.
Well,
I
he
mean,
only
yeah,
had 21.
I know, but he was 4 for 6 from threes, and what was he?
yeah,
8
but
for
I'm
13?
Yeah, he
talking
shot
like,
very well. Like, yeah, their
yeah,
starting
but
lineup shot so well. Oh my
yeah,
Lord.
but I'm not. I mean, that's expected of them. I'm talking about when they're the vintage
Like the
Curry
45,
Clay.
50
Yeah,
games. Yeah.
yeah. I'm still waiting for one of those, and I think it's coming. But
I think a
Speaking,
lot of Jaw's thing though is Ja does that to kind of light a fire under his team too. Like they kind of go as his energy goes. He's their leader. Yes, he's young. Yes, he hasn't done a lot. But I mean, there's guys that's their personality and that's the way that they lead. I
I
mean,
mean,
if Jaren Jackson kind of goes as John Morant pushes him and John Morant feeds him and that kind of thing. When Jaren Jackson kind of gets in his head, he plays very bad. And on Saturday, he played pretty bad. He shot 4 for 13, and I think a lot of the Warriors were kind of in his head. And I think that John Morant, that's part of his leadership abilities. And another thing, yeah,
he's
he
just a
hasn't
dog,
done a
dude.
lot. He hasn't done a lot in the league, but nobody can stop him. Nobody can guard him. They were
No.
literally they knew in game 2 that he was going to drive the ball and score on them. That they knew that was his plan.
yeah.
And what did he do? Score the last 15. They couldn't do anything. Like
I mean,
everyone in this chat would be talking their talk if they scored the last 15 points of the game. Like you
this is
can't
my
tell
thing
me.
though. I mean, no, you're right. This is my thing though. And I don't know. When you're talking smack to a player like Curry, I just don't think you do that. I mean, look at this game right here. You talk smack the game before, and then you lose by 32.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
But
I don't know.
Curry runs his mouth all the time too. Like,
He's one of the best players in the league. The dude's earned that. As a younger player, you should
I don't
be.
think you have to like earn your way to like talk smack.
No,
I mean,
no, but
John Morant
it's a
is
respect thing,
as a
in my
star in the
opinion.
league.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know,
yeah,
but you're in
no,
the
he is, but
playoffs.
I don't know. Yeah, and
You're
then
just
lose
gonna
by
I just-
32.
I- okay.
bow down and
Look-
kiss the feet of Steph
looking
Curry
at
because
it,
it's Steph Curry. So I'm
look-
just gonna bow down and kiss his feet
No.
because it's Steph Curry.
No, I mean, you have to be.
Josh, tell me right now though. You dropping like what John Morant has done. You're not going to talk your talk. I know exactly how you are. It's funny that you're the one saying this, bro.
This is.
Yeah,
I mean, this is my thing. I'm definitely gonna be talking smack, but I don't think I'm gonna direct it towards Steph Curry. That's
well,
what I'm.
after
That's
game
what I'm
1,
saying.
though, Steph Curry kind of went up to him and said, "Hey, we're about to have some fun. Like, good game, kid. Nice try." Basically, is what he just told him.
But I don't.
And John Morant said, "Okay, game 2, I'm going to say the same thing. I dropped 15 on y'all straight in a row, and literally won this game for my team. That's the only way he can win. The only way the Grizzlies are going to win is if he drops 40 points, and he did that in game 2." I would be, man, go talk your talk, man. I know that you're playing with danger. I know you're playing with danger. You're talking to the Warriors who have won championships, are the dynasty of our time. And you're talking to the best shooter of all time and Klay Thompson, who would probably be the best shooter of our era if Steph Curry didn't exist. Like, you're talking to those guys. I understand that, but you're also dropping 40 points in the playoffs on a team that knows that you are their guy. You're the guy that's going to score. I
know what you're saying, but the thing that I'm really trying to get at is like you're talking to the wrong team. These guys are looking for something like that to light a fire under them. Like you cannot talk to a team like this that you could go off in a split second and beat you by 30 plus like they just did. Like,
but even what Josh said was in response to what Curry told him in game
Right.
one.
I understand it, but
I mean, and even Draymond Green respects Josh. Like Draymond Green is always talking and all this stuff, but after the game, even Morant, like he had no help, dropped 37 points, literally no help from any of his teammates. Even Draymond said, "Well, that's what we have to do. We have to stop every other player on that team because we can't stop
him." Right?
It's hard to stop.
They proved that in a close game. They hope Ja misses because they can't make him miss.
And
In game
honestly,
two,
Dude,
they
I've
wouldn't
would.
have
already,
missed.
I don't know.
And the Warriors
I've
are lucky
already
because
said what I've.
it could be 2-1 Grizzlies. Like this could be the first one for the Warriors. Do you know the left-hand scoop where Ja in game one literally had the game in his hand, left-handed, that he makes so many times, driving to the bucket and just didn't fall. And he leaned against the basketball goal with that look in his face, like, wow, I can't believe I missed that. And everybody's talking trash and all this stuff. And he's like, wow. And then the next game, he's like, okay. He's a young guy, but he bounces back and scores the next 15 in the next game after missing the game-winning shot the first game. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've already said on
I
the
don't know.
last podcast.
I'm just
I
not.
think it's what?
You
I
know,
love
I mean,
LeBron. I love LeBron. So that's why the Warriors, I just don't like any of the Warriors because I love LeBron and they took, so many chips from LeBron and, he was outmatched in
team.
all those games,
Yeah.
against the better team. So, I mean, me and the Warriors, we just don't mesh. So I'll never stick up for the Warriors. So
I like the Warriors, and I think that they are the epitome of what a great franchise is. They built
Yeah.
that from the ground up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I understand what you're saying, Josh, but I also see the other side of it too. And you know what? They have to stop everybody else. And they did. And that's how they won. They also
That's
won
how they
by
won.
shooting 65% or 63% from the field. Like, you're not going to
They
do that
missed-
in the next
they
game, but
missed
they
Dylan
won by
Brooks for
30.
sure.
They don't need to shoot
I mean,
63%.
They
hopefully
might not
Jordan
do it.
Brooks
Then,
is suspended
I mean,
next
But
game.
I will say Ja Morant was still the leading scorer in this game. But we do need to move on. One more thing to say about this series, though. Ja got hurt, and he called out the Warriors for playing dirty. Did you see the play in which he
what's it
got
with the
hurt?
Jordan Poole?
Yeah.
He grabbed his knee.
Listen, it's the same thing as a Draymond Green thing. You're in an intense game. You're going to do things just out of instinct that you don't mean to do. And I think he don't need to make it. I don't think
Where's
the
this
media
about
should make it
Dylan
a big
Brooks
deal.
though? How does Dylan Brooks get he makes one reckless play?
Gosh, bro.
He makes one reckless play.
Here's
Like
what I
there's a
figured
difference
out.
between a dirty play because you're a dirty player or a reckless play. Like Dylan
So are you
Brooks made
calling
a reckless
Jordan
play.
Poole a dirty player then?
I think they were all reckless plays, but I don't like that you're taking the side of Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, but yet you're leaving ODB
Dude,
out there to dry in the rain.
He had. How are you not seeing this? He had absolutely no reason trying to block that shot. Absolutely none.
Yeah, and
There's no
hindsight's
way.
2020. If Gary Payton didn't even get injured on that play, literally, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It's because the dude fractured his elbow.
No, that's not my
why
thing.
that we're
That's
bringing it
not my
all
thing.
up. He went to
No.
block a shot and he hit somebody and got him off balance.
Okay,
And
I'm
Gary
going to corral
Payton
us
had to
in here real
sell
quick.
the foul. But I do
We
want to
can
say
talk
this.
about this all night.
I want to say this because I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw it, Tim. You're probably about to say it, but they asked Klay Thompson because they were saying, this is what Ja said. Was this bat? And Klay Thompson threw Jordan Poole under the whatever you say that saying, whatever. But he's threw him under the bus. Thank you. And he was like, yeah, I don't think Jordan Poole is even strong enough to even affect a guy's leg. So I don't think it was hilarious because
Ja's got some small legs though, but he can jump out the gym. But I do want to say the Grizzlies head coach has announced that Ja's out for game 4.
Yeah, it's over.
So obviously whatever was done, I don't know if it was caused by Jordan Poole. I'm not here. I don't blame, it is what it is. It's basketball. It's intense. It's like any sport. When you're in the heat of the moment, you do things that you don't even know you do sometimes.
Exactly.
Your adrenaline and everything just pushes you towards it. And yeah, we can have arguments about whether one guy's dirty, one guy's not. But to me, I just look at it as Ja Morant's out for this game. This series is over. The Warriors are going to kill the Grizzlies. They're going to take that bear and they're going to stuff it and put it up in their attics and look at it every year and say, there's the 2022 Grizzlies, because we shot them, sent them over, and got them stuffed because they done. Because Ja Morant's done. And like I said, they can shut down every other guy, but they can't shut down Ja Morant. Well, they did. He's gone. They're done. Warriors in 5. So,
yeah,
it's not
looking good for the match for sure.
though, one thing I will say is the Grizzlies did go on a little bit of a run without Ja. So, could they do it again or
against the Warriors? Absolutely not. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. There's a lot of fuel under the fire, and maybe the Grizzlies will come out and say, you guys hurt our best player. We think you're a dirty team. So we're going to come out and we're going to Dylan Brooks all of you. So, Steve Kerr might have to go out there and be part of the team. I don't know. But we've talked enough tonight. We've kept you guys a long time. Thank you if you're still in here. If you're still watching us, we really appreciate it. we know we go on little tangents here, and these boys, I'm trying to set up a boxing match with them. I need to get Nate to get a little bit lower in weight and Josh to gain some so that they can be a little more even. But they got a lot of animosity between them both. Yeah, it doesn't help that this guy's on steroids. But
sure.
Josh likes his chances. If you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments who you think's going to win. And we'll set it up. We'll set up the MGM Grand. I'll be the Herb Dean of the fight. And we'll see who can do it. But
more
now,
like Bruce Buffer.
and now, fighting out of the red corner, he stands at a 5'2" tall. He is out of Canton, Missouri. Josh Gurmode. And fighting out of the blue corner, this man's on steroids. He is breaking out of his shorts as we speak. The 8'7" bearded Nate Duga. There's a little preview into what's going to happen. But if you like this, just share it. Give us a little subscribe. Share the post, like it, comment, share it with your friends. We're just in here to have a good time, to talk, to have fun. And we really appreciate you guys stopping in. You guys are the reason we do this. We love to talk sports, but we want to get it out to you as well. And know that, you know what? Sports talk doesn't always have to be super formal. We're just having fun talking and dudes being dudes. So we appreciate you guys being in here. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll catch you on the flip. Peace out, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Go Mavs. Luka, baby.